All right, here I am live. I'm on here for a variety of reasons, and most of you might know me from the podcast, the Unapologetic Disruptor for Good, or some of the work that I've done. But here's the deal. Um, Even though I'm usually talking about with guests and things on a podcast, I had to come on this live today and just really expressed some serious concerns that I know not just myself, but principals across the country are experiencing at high rates that I think is going to be extremely important. And what I'm talking about is about this digital playground that our kids have in their pockets, this unmonitored cell phone access. See, I get it that we give our kids phones for safety, and I hear it all the time. They need it on the bus for coordination. I need to know where to pick them up, or because everyone else has one, which is common. But here's the reality that we're seeing at schools: that an 8-year-old's brain is a masterpiece of curiosity, or a 9-year-old, or a 10-year-old, or 11-year-old, but it doesn't quite have the developed filters yet when a child has unmonitored access to the internet. They aren't just playing games. They're stepping into a world designed not for adults necessarily, but in a world that is really hard to navigate. And let me give you some examples. Just in the last year as an elementary school principal, what I have encountered, what I've engaged in, even this week. This week, I saw screenshots of Snapchats from young students using some of the most profane language and explicit comments that I can't even hardly even describe. That they are cyberbullying ish, these comments, and they're happening outside of school. They're happening in the homes of our families. They're happening when they're away from school. And yet the impact on schools is incomprehensible. The amount of hours that as a principal I have spent navigating and trying to solve major problems that are being engaged in outside of school that are coming into school because of this use of cell phone and unfiltered access to social media, to FaceTimes, to messaging groups, to Snapchat is incomprehensible. The time that I could be having conversations around academic needs and what can we do differently instructionally, I'm having around bullying investigations and what kids are doing on their phones and calling parents and saying, "Can you come in?" I have been provided screenshots that are startling. And just yesterday, we had a local law enforcement officer come to our school as part of a drill that we are required to do by the state. And this officer just happened to be part of a task force that works with cyber issues with students. And I began to talk to him, and the more I talked to him, the more I began to reflect and almost was startled off of what I was hearing from him in my own city. The use of Roblox right now for not just grooming kids, which is startling in itself, but there's this dark movement that's happening on the Roadblocks forum where they are trying to blackmail, if you will, young kids into getting these children to engage in inappropriate photo taking and so on and so forth. I don't want to get into the details. You understand what I'm saying if you're listening. And they are telling the children via Roblox and pretending to be another child that they're going to send these inappropriate photos to their families. If they don't first harm themselves, maybe it is a pinprick, maybe it's a little piece of a nick and writing with blood somewhere in a closet or something, and then it's perpetuating to harming maybe their animals. Eventually, the goal is to get children to harm other children at school and engage in harmful and potentially deadly behavior at school. I know it sounds absurd, and I am by far not a conspiracy theorist. I actually spoke to one of the law enforcement investigators who handles these things, and he was telling me how often this is happening. And then literally today, I get screenshots of some incomprehensible conversations between very young students on Snapchat. Here's what I want to tell parents. I want to tell family members. Last year, I had an experience where there was some inappropriate things happening via cell phones with some of my upper grade students. And it had to include law enforcement. And law enforcement showed up and handed the cell phone of the children to their parent and said, "Will you please get into your child's phone for us? We are in the midst of an investigation, if you will." And I can't tell you how many parents could not get into their child's cell phone. Now, mind you, I'm an elementary school principal. I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11-year-olds. These 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds had full access to the internet. They had full access to social media, to Snapchats, to FaceTimes, to text message groups, full access. I don't know what else to do but sound an alarm as a parent, as a principal, as an educator. I cannot express the amount of harm that's happening to our kids. And I say that because I see it every day. I see it every day. We don't have cell phones. They're not allowed in the elementary schools in Nashville where I live. So these things aren't happening at school. They're happening outside of school. There is a genuine, general misunderstanding of the power of cell phones within many communities, including my own. We sat down today as a team and with my school counselor and my assistant principal and a couple other on our team, and we said, what are we going to do? We have no control over what happens outside of school. We have no control over the utilization of these devices. And we've just come up to, we have to continue to educate our kids and our parents about the impact that this tool has on our kids. I bring this to you because I genuinely am concerned. And if you're in education, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're a parent and you do not have access to your child's phone, I'm going to tell you without any type of holding back, you are setting your child up for some serious and tragic potential harm every single day. Because not only are there predators out there, but the social interactions that are happening between our kids on cell phone and social media platforms is so harmful for our children who have developing brains, who respond to stress the same way that we do. They're coming to school with this extra weight and barrier of stress where they're not allowed, their brains aren't allowing them to access the frontal lobe of their brain, their prefrontal cortex, because they're always on, oh my goodness, is this person going to fight me? Oh my goodness, is this person think about me? Oh my goodness, we got in a fight last night via FaceTime or via chat group or whatever it is. And so this is a public service announcement begging parents, please, please, at least monitor your children's phone. At least pick it up occasionally and look through it. It isn't hard to find. They don't know how to truly operate these incredibly powerful tools. There's more compute power in this right here than was on the very first space shuttle that landed on the moon. And we're giving it to our children and we're saying, just do whatever you want with it. It's fine. Please, from an elementary school principal, this is my 10th year being a principal and my 20th year in education. I'm telling you, I see it every day. I see children being harmed emotionally, and I even see children being harmed physically because of the encounters they have had on these cell phones. And so I had no intention. I look like a hot mess. I can see myself right now in this computer, and I'm tired. It's Friday. I've been at school all week. I came home. I was going to watch March Madness, and this feeling that I've been feeling all day after managing some of these things all week, I literally just told my wife, I got to go upstairs really quick, in the podcast room real quick. I've got to get on and get this off of my chest, because I'm telling us as a society, as a community, as a school, our kids they're in the midst of chaos if we're not watching close enough. What they're being exposed to, the cyberbullying that they're experiencing, the unhealthy social interactions that are happening over and over and over and over again. So from a principal, please check the settings, make sure you have your parental controls, they're active and they're restrictive. Have your children charge their phones in your room, in the kitchen, somewhere, and talk about what online safety is. As a parent, I have a 15-year-old. We talk about it. He doesn't have social media that I'm aware. He's trying to get me to get him social media. I'm not convinced, right? I understand that we have to give them some autonomy, but we would never give our kids a tool that is this powerful to their social and emotional health, to their mental health, to their physical health, and not monitor it. At least I hope not, but that is the case. So from an elementary school principal and this public service announcement, please, for the sake of our kids, monitor their cell phones. Check with them, have conversations with them. It is not a babysitter. It doesn't replace the relationship that we have with our kids. So please, for the sake of our kids, for the sake of our schools, for the sake of the academic success of our children, do not give them unfiltered access in an elementary school to cell phones. I beg. I literally am begging, because we as educators, as principals, are trying to manage this on a day-to-day basis. And I'll be quite honest, it's nearly impossible. What used to be the principal's job or a teacher's job of simply teaching, showing up, building relationships, hugging kids and letting them know that you're there and you care about them, eating lunch with them, has now turned into active shooter drills, has turned into lockout drills, has turned into monitoring of issues from cell phones nonstop outside of school, who've turned into cyberbullying investigations, that have turned to trying to explain to parents that, yeah, I understand kids are kids, but this isn't okay when kids are bullying each other cyberly, when kids are interacting with people online that they have no idea who they are. That is the educators and principals' jobs right now. That's what we're experiencing. And it's hard enough to ensure that we're meeting the academic needs and the social and emotional health needs of our students. Parents, we're begging you. We need you. We have to have you as partners. You know your children best. But I can also say we're allowing our kids access to a very, very dangerous tool. And we're allowing it to run their lives, impact their brain development, the neurology and the physiological responses in their bodies. And ultimately, I'm fearful of the harm that is being caused. Because as a principal, I deal with these things literally weekly, if not daily, of parents saying, hey, this is happening. Hey, somebody did this online. Hey, somebody said this. And I looked at a parent today and I said, if I could only control what happens inside of this school, boy, what a difference would make. And I certainly cannot control everything that happens outside of school. And I looked at that parent and I said, that's why we need you as a partner. We need you here with us, because the tools we're giving our students are both harmful if unfiltered, dangerous if unfiltered, and potentially deadly if unfiltered. So on the behalf of all educators, parents, I'm begging you, please check your children's cell phones, put in the monitoring tools, talk to them about what is okay and not okay, what people say to them, how to navigate these. Don't let them go into their room and get on these group chats and FaceTimes, because I'm telling you, it's not healthy. What's being said and done is not okay. And as much as all of us want to think our kids wouldn't do that, I can assure you, I have an incredible son, incredible, who we have had to have these conversations with. And no kid is below it. Every kid has the opportunity to engage in it, and it is in their face every single day. And with that, they bring it to school. It's impacting how they learn. It's impacting how they navigate social relationships at school. And it's impacting every educator who sees and supports children every single day. Sorry for the rant. Sorry for the public service announcement. But we have to do something, because it's becoming nearly impossible for our kids to just come to school and learn. That's the reality. I hope you have a good weekend. Enjoy March Madness. If you think you agree, like, share, comment, because all educators out there, we're all experiencing the same thing. So appreciate you. Hey, come and listen to the podcast. I think I have to cancel next week. My son has a soccer game. I've committed to always making his soccer games, but we'll be back with the Unapologetic Disruptor for Good podcast. Have a good night.